Good afternoon. Welcome to The Buzz this midweek. It's Wednesday, the 3rd of July, 2019. And we're here again at the table ready to analyze national issues trending on social media. Welcome to the show. My name is Patience Bello Kafo, and as always delighted to be here. And joining me at the table this afternoon is a pleasure to have Mr. Nuruddin Adegbenro, who is a journalist, a lecturer, and a social analyst, amongst other things. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You know, Mr. Adegbenro, you've never really told me what you lecture, what course?
All the communication courses.
Oh, okay.
Ranging from news writing to broadcasting, area of advertising,
reporting, and everything.
Everything
wow.
that has to do with mass communication.
Wow, I think I need to go back to school. Maybe you'll be my lecturer. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, joining us at the table also this afternoon is a pleasure to have Mr. Segun Shokpito. He's a business and financial consultant. He's also chairman, board of trustees for ACT Network, a good governance advocacy group. Good afternoon, Mr. Shokpito.
Good afternoon, madam.
Always a delight to have you here.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to the program. Welcome, viewers. Always happy to know you're there. 0802-836-8971 is the number to use to interact with us on the program this afternoon. And having said that, let me just put it out there that traffic on the roads today especially is horrible, and this is going out to all of our traffic officers, officials, whoever is concerned at this point. We need more hands on the road. People need to get off the road and get where they're going. And the amazing thing about it is there are really no broken down cars or falling trailers or whatever. The road is just tight. I don't know. How are we going to survive like this?
It's bad roads.
It's bad roads.
The rains have, as it's a cycle, so once you start getting to June, July, because the rains have been falling for like a month or two, all the roads start chipping at the edge, and then the more you use it, the wider the potholes get, and all that. Somebody was saying as a joke that potholes in Nigeria are constitutionally protected.
Yes.
They are citizens.
And that's making light of the situation.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
And we are losing money every minute. That is the meaning.
Yeah.
We are losing money every minute. And that is not good for our economy. That we are even begging that it should surely grow.
Let's not even go into the health implications.
No, that one is another thing.
You have to be on the road like 3-4 hours in the morning, then going back home is the same story.
You are shortening the time you are going to rest.
Yes,
that is what it means.
Exactly.
Because
and then people are going to start falling sick.
Your place of
dying.
work will not even listen to it. That you're supposed to resume by 7. Because of traffic, you are resuming by 10. No, they will never. That means you have to shorten the time you are going to rest, and not having enough rest is a problem to the health.
Of course it is. Please, let's
hope we'll see the new governor, take some serious quick action.
Exactly.
He started very like a house on fire.
Yeah, like he was,
like he was all ready to go, hitting the ground running and all that. But we haven't seen much. So please, Mr. Governor, we need to see you, especially this road issue.
35 days gone.
Yeah.
So we are counting.
Isn't it usually like 100 days, to measure whether or not?
We won't wait till then.
We can't wait till then.
All right, Your Excellency, sir, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Governor of Lagos State. Wow, so much to do. I think you have your work cut out for you already. Please, let's get to it, okay? All right, I'm going straight into our package this afternoon. We start with what has been trending on social media, virtually on all social sites since yesterday. It is about a senator who was caught on camera assaulting a woman. Elisha Abo, who is incidentally Nigeria's youngest senator at 41, has been caught on camera assaulting a woman, wait for it, at a sex toy shop somewhere in Abuja. According to reports, the exchange which led to the assault occurred on May the 11th after Mr. Abo, a member of the People's Democratic Party, which I think is really irrelevant to this story, anyways, walked into the shop at about 6 p.m. to purchase you know what. Anyways, there's a lot to the story, and there's also a video from the CCTV camera from the shop. And I think this morning some activists, have gone to the police headquarters to actually protest that this senator should be picked up and investigated and the issue investigated. Let's quickly go see the video clip, then we'll come back and talk.
she's not my enemy, she's my friend. We are not enemies. We are friends and I've known her for over 5 years. But she insulted me. She said that I am drunk, I am stupid, I am mad. She insulted me. All I want is that Zago Koma, you go and tell them that on Monday that is one.
What's the pay all up by the phone?
Drop your phone while I'm talking.
I
said drop your phone.
She's talking to her father.
I said drop your phone now, I'm talking. You call him but nobody's arresting you.
Drop the phone.
Take drop that phone.
You're very stupid.
Please take it easy now.
You are very stupid. What's your problem? You are very stupid. I think you are very stupid. I become with you. Are you mad? I know where you go. I think you are very stupid. Take her. Go with her. Come. I take her. I take her. I take her.
Okay, yeah, that's the video. But according to reports making the rounds, the lady came in and allegedly vomited multiple times, you know, inside the shop. And then the shop owner asked her to go outside. You're not a child, you know, you shouldn't vomit. And the senator intervened, you know, things quickly went downhill. And before you know it, this is what occurred, you know, slapping and name callings and all of that. But let's talk. I know you've seen this video prior to now. Okay, so how did you react to it?
You know, as a journalist, we don't work with emotion. We have to go. I look at the video 5 times. In fact, at the time, I did not want to look at the video, but listen to those voiceovers. That was what I was. And what happened is that that particular senator, he was not new to that particular shop, based on the interaction. And if you can look at the clip, you will discover that they have 2 attendants there. One that was slapped, the other one. But he was saying to that particular one that it's because I know you, and it's because I know your father. That means
the shop owner is his friend. Yes.
So it's because of that particular relationship. 3 things are involved here. The first one, for the fact that he has not been coming to that particular shop when he was not a senator, then now he's a senator. It's just a show of power. That was the first one. Then the second one is this. For the fact that you are a senator, you don't have any legal right. In fact, any rights, alienable, any right to eat another person. That one is the second one. Then the third one, having a policeman standing with him, now cooling him down. Obviously, is one of the orderlies, obviously. And we know what's really, this is a bad image for Nigeria, is a bad image for the National Assembly, particularly the House of Senate, then the youth. What makes it to the one of the youth is this. All of us, we are clamoring severally that this is the time that the youth, having 75% of the population of Nigeria, that we need to come up and we have to be in power. If we are going to be in power, I know this is a bad example of a bad youth, because Nigerian youths are not lazy, they are reasonable, they are caring, but this is a bad example. As a Senator, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I thank the IG. This morning there was a statement that was released early this morning that he has ordered for the arrest of that particular senator. We pray and we hope that this must be the light. In fact, if you are looking for a very big ground to recall, then this is the way that we should even look at.
Mr. Shopito.
I mean, what can we say? This is as barbaric as it can get, you know. I don't care whether he's a senator, I don't care whether he's just a private individual. You know, you don't go around because you disagree with somebody else, start assaulting them. You know, I mean, I almost couldn't watch that thing. It was shocking. You know, the first one, you know, you slap somebody the first time, even you that you're slapping, it should do something to you. Yeah. But he did it several times. In fact,
Smack
he punched
on the
her.
face.
He actually punched her at a point. You know, so for me, now, the fact that he's a senator makes it all the worse, because it's supposed to be an example in society, an example of good behavior. Now, for me, what this should, I think the biggest point, first of all, on the issue of prosecution, I hope something happens. I mean, we've all, I'm sure you've seen a petition that was going around.
Yeah.
I've signed,
Yeah.
you know, and we hope that they will ensure that is prosecuted. He must be prosecuted,
Exactly.
and if possible, go to jail. This would be a, you know, one of the problems that Nigerians have is
Deterrent.
we behave badly and nothing happens.
Yes.
So if we want to start changing that impunity culture, this would be a fantastic platform to start from. Now, I want to say to young Nigerians, because if you look at the examples of people, young people in office today, they're all bad examples.
Yes.
So you guys that are, you know, energetic, creative, industrious young Nigerians, what are you doing? Why are you allowing the worst of you to be the
represent.
ones to represent you in public office?
Exactly.
You
I'm
need
sure
to
none of
stand
you
up.
have actually mentioned the fact that this is a man. Apart from him being a public officer or whatever he is, a man hitting a woman publicly, that's like taking domestic violence from the home.
I mean, to a completely
To-
whole new
exactly.
level.
That
And
is
for,
it.
For another thing again is this: if you look at, because if you look at the 5 W's and H of that story, who is involved? Where? At the pawn shop?
Why?
That one is one. Then
And
why?
what?
Another thing again is that one of those ladies that really came with him, one of them was vomiting. According to unconfirmed report, that the lady was drunk badly. And we know, for those people that normally drink, they know that if you get to a particular stage, you start vomiting. So, and that was what made the other girl to react. Oh, no matter. And according to the video, because even the responses of that lady shows that the way she will have told the other lady that sorry, I just find a way to just it's not so that
Offensive or violent.
And another thing again is that for you eating a man, I think it's a high
A
time
woman.
that we should do something on 2 things now. It has becoming, in fact, rampant now. Rape and eating woman, they are sacred. In fact, I just, at times, that's why as a lecturer, if a female student does something that I really want to react, what I would just do was that to just keep mute. Because at times I just look, the way I'm going to handle or talk to a male student, come, what's your problem? What's your problem? I will first of all just cool and be looking at them. Later on, I will now say, okay, go and call that student for me.
Okay,
What
thank
is
you
your
for
problem?
that. Thank you for saying women are sacred. I don't know, but let's wait and see, you know, how all of this will end. But I'm happy that the police, you know, have stepped into this matter and something has to be done. And apart from the senator, I think something should be done to that officer who was with the senator.
Yes.
And, you know, couldn't stop that, you know, act of assault from taking place and was even attempting to arrest the young lady.
So
you know.
he has been asked to report to the police
Okay,
headquarters. So.
good. All right, Ile Ojonimi from Kogi State is reacting and says, I have never been in support of the so-called not too young to run movement. Our young people have not been sufficiently trained for leadership. And I think that's buttressing what you just said.
Absolutely.
Okay. 0802-836-8971 is still the number. SMS only. We'll go to our first major story of the day. Labour shuts ports nationwide. Leaders of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, MAWUN, yesterday directed members to withdraw their services and shut ports operations nationwide starting from today, Wednesday, the 3rd of July, over unpaid wages to dock workers, amongst other issues. They warned that once the strike starts, it will not end until all demands were met. Of course, you recall that on the 11th of June this year, MAWUN issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government to compel the international oil companies, IOCs, to pay over a year outstanding wages to dock workers. The leaders of the union last week set up a strike coordinating committee and directed its officials in all port formations nationwide to begin a massive mobilization of members ahead of the planned strike. Well, here we are. Today is Wednesday. It is the D-Day. But then let's discuss the implication of shutting our ports down. We know the ports, the gateway to our economy.
And we are not producing.
Well, what are the implications really of this?
Let's look at it from this
strike action?
particular angle. every day, according to calculations, every day, if the way they've shot the port now, we are losing nothing less than $5 million only on eatable things that is being imported to this particular country. Funny thing is that we are not producing. For a country that is not producing, that you depend majorly on imports, then, and if you look at all what these unions are looking at, the first one, they mentioned the issue of Nigerian government not sincere and doing something rapidly on 30,000 minimum wage. That one is general. Then the second one is that international oil companies, that there are some certain allowances that is due to all these dock workers, like the one of Azad, that they've been talking to them for so long. After that, as you've said, they have issued 14 days ultimatum. Problem we have with this, if any union goes on strike, we always say, this union is too much and all those things. There is no union I've ever seen in Nigeria, as bad as NUT is. Before they will go on strike, they will give warning and they will give room for dialogue. But nobody, we have permanent secretary of labor and productivity. Let's assume we don't have ministers. We have. Then we have DG of maritime commission. He has not done anything for the period that elapsed. No dialogue, nothing. And that is the problem we are saying. Now, what is doing for our economy is this. One, whatever we are gaining as a country, every day, counting from today now, not less than $5 million on eatable things. What of other things? What of the matter? And there are some things that we are importing that they are live wire of our economy. So automatically, Nigerian economy is going to be affected. In fact, it's been affected and is a crisis on its own. And it is the kind of economy we are trying to build. We want a situation, and the oil companies too, especially international oil companies. I don't see the reason why the issue of wages should be a problem with the profits, because Nigeria is a very good place to do business, and you are not going to spend much. Forget about the issue of lights they always talk about. We agree, but there are some certain things. How many of them are paying due taxes? Go and see all these people. They know how they rob. I rob your hand, you rob my back, and that is exactly what they are doing. So upon all these workers that are engine room, and you cannot pay them, and you don't want them to go on strike
for over a year.
And these are wages. And don't forget, in Nigeria, wages, allowances, that is where the workers enjoy. All those wages, because they are going to be piled together. It's different from your salary. You budget on your salary, but allowances, wages, they are bunky. And at the same time, this is the same National Assembly that we are having now. We know how much they are proposing they want to collect. Compare to what these particular workers, to me, is a peanut to them. And these are the people that are working. Oh no,
they drive the economy.
In fact, I support them 100%, and
track.
Nigerian government should try much as possible. This is an economy that is not okay. We are trying to build it. We should not put it down again.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adegbenro, for that. Now, Mr. Sokoto, let me ask. The statement that was put out there, by the union, they said, and I quote, that they could no longer watch while members die prematurely and suffer humiliation of not being able to meet basic necessities such as house rent, school fees, medical bills, amongst others. I mean, that is the basis on which this strike has to go on. Do we always need to go on strike, before the government does what is the right of the people? The issue of the minimum wage, like you rightly pointed out, is still on the table because it still has not been effected. Yeah. And the labor union are threatening there might be an industrial action as well. Doctor strike, that is still pending, as we all know. Must we always toll this road before things get done?
So, I mean, our government, I think we, as we all know, have a fundamental problem where government appears to be disconnected from society, So when a union says we're going on strike and they give you the warning, usually the government official really doesn't seem to empathize and connect with first of all, with the plight of the people that are threatening to go on strike, and then with the consequences to the citizenry, the economy, and the nation at large if that strike happens. Like you said, you know, just think about all the sectors. When did we just come out of the ASU strike? When did we come out of the nationwide labor strike over minimum wage? You know, strike in, strike out, strikes seem to have become a natural and normal part of our national existence. And I think it's an indictment on the guys in authority. Now, in the case of these maritime workers, it would appear as though their primary grouse is not necessarily with government primarily now. They've talked about the minimum wage, but it would appear as though that's more like in passing, because it's still ongoing.
Yeah, exactly.
And labor, the wider labor organization is still, you know, taking government on that. But this issue of 1 year of unpaid salaries, wages, allowance, whatever you want to call it, by the oil, international oil companies is just unthinkable. In fact, I don't understand it. It would almost appear as though there might be more to it, because when we say IOCs, we're talking of the majors.
Yes.
We shouldn't be mentioning their names so that we don't give them advance. But I mean, there are just about 5 or 6 of them, and they're all global giants.
Making money.
Global giants. You know, so the resource to pay cannot be a constraint. So the question is, what is the problem? And now, what has government done? That's why the role of government and the failure of governance in this case now is government is supposed to be the regulator in this sector now. So, like he's mentioned, all the various agencies, Nigerian Port Authority, what are they doing about this? You know, because if the ports shut down, you are the one that regulates the ports, and it's your ports that have stopped working.
Yeah.
So what's the NPA saying about this? How come they've allowed this to drag on until we've now gone on a strike?
Exactly.
Why do we always have to go on strike? You know, so it's a question that our guys in authority really need to address. We can't go on like this.
Like you rightly said, there is actually no plausible reason why, you know, the IOCs should owe, you know, dock workers. For those who don't know who dock workers are, have you taken like a ride or gone to the ports before and you see all those guys who are either loading or offloading things from the ships and all? You see how they look, you know, how do you even have the heart to owe those kind of people who are doing those kind of, you know, work?
And do you know the worst of things? There are some of them that always go with ship and come back with ship.
Yeah.
Some of them will leave home for like 3 months, some 2 months. It depends on the journey.
Exactly.
And they will still come back, and somebody is still going to hold them wages and all these allowances. Some people did not even think about God at all. Because I don't know the reason. There are some certain works. It's not like somebody working in quarry and you are not owing that particular person. You know, there are some jobs that even on the job there's going to be money and all those stuff.
Like you're flexing on the job. I mean, we could excuse that.
For instance, now, if I'm a senator
and
I've been home salary, and I've been home salary, if I'm a senator, you understand now? I could understand that. I know that if I go for oversight function, I know what will happen now.
But does this not bring to the fore, you know, the consistent exploitation of the average Nigerian worker on Nigerian soil? If these big names, big oil companies, you know, who are, you know, doing their business on Nigerian soil, and we know they make big profit from what they're doing. Forget that we're not even a producing country at the moment and all of that, but we know, you know, and then they use us, they use Nigerians, and then they don't pay us, and then we have a government. Does this not show blatantly, I mean, to the Nigerian people that nothing protects the average Nigerian worker out there?
The reality is that, you know, Nigeria is, I want to choose my words carefully, so I don't use excessively negative words, but it's a terribly difficult place to live in. When you talk about this minimum wage issue, for crying out loud, in productive economies, minimum wage starts from $6 per hour. That's per hour.
Per hour.
Per hour. That's about yes, not per day. That's about 2,000, 2,500 naira per hour.
Every hour.
So if you calculate that per day, you are talking. I mean, the minimum wage worker in the US earns around 250,000 naira per month. Per month, 250,000 per month minimum wage. So it would appear as though
minimum.
Yes, minimum. That's minimum wage. So it would appear as though the society as a whole, we just simply don't place a premium on productivity and labor. You know, and of course it's a bit of a vicious cycle. The more we don't, you know, pay attention to these issues and pay people well, the less productive they will be, and the more our economy continues to remain in the doldrums. So that's why, you know, the responsibility to improve society and bring about progress is squarely on the table of a government. So it's government that is supposed to look at this, and these are the kind of things that the Minister of Labor and Productivity is supposed to be concerned about. Looking at the working conditions of the Nigerian worker, not just the government ones now, everybody, looking at their working conditions, ensuring that they are productive, that they're a productive workforce, calculating how much are they contributing to national development and national growth, empirically, looking at those indices and deliberately trying to improve them over a 2-year or a 3-year period. Nothing like that happens in Nigeria. These guys just get into office, read newspaper, collect allowances, appoint aides and all that, drive in convoys, and they go and they come, year in, year out, administration in and administration out. Can somebody tell me one Minister of Labor and Productivity that has actually done something, a major policy framework that has changed the face of work in Nigeria? I can't think of nothing.
And
they're just there.
And in addition, if you are talking about international oil companies, that one is just a part. Let's use Lagos as a case study. Starting from Ikeja, inside, down to this Adeni Jones area, I know some multi-billion naira companies that are owned by these foreigners that, number one, they don't have signboard.
Coded. I was going to use the word coded.
They don't have signboard. Somebody that they don't have signboard. Funny thing is that they don't have company vehicle that you can say, this is their logo.
So
they don't
identify them by.
Another thing again, that was not quite long, I don't know, maybe about some weeks back, there was a particular report on Galaxy Television News of how some Nigerians, how they were being handled in all these companies that are hosted by these foreigners, signing from Chinese, Korean, and all those stuff. The way they are treating. In fact, there was one that I have to wage in many years ago around Ibesa, where somebody, a Nigerian, died in your company overnight because there are some wire that you cannot even do very well, and the guy died. The second day, when the other workers resumed, they saw the corpse. They said, no, you have to take care of this particular corpse, or else we are not working. They said, if you are not working, we will sack all of them. All of them are said, okay, sack all of us. And it becomes rancor, and the community have to come in so that they can wage in before they could do a befitting burial for that guy and give and all those stuff. And that is the problem. If you have a government that cannot cater for its own citizens, and all these foreigners are seeing that your government cannot even do anything, then how are you going to employ them, mandate them to do something? Nigerian workers are suffering under these international companies. They are seriously suffering. In fact, go from production or whatever, especially those who are producing ions, whatever, go and see the way they are being handled. In fact, there was one also in Sharada in Kano that have to wage in. Could you believe a Nigerian working in that company? That woman was menstruating every day because of the hazard they got from the work. And because they know, they have to sack the woman and say, no, it's not going to be possible. Activists will have to come in and all those stuff before they could compensate that particular woman.
It's a whole lot, you know, when you look at the lot of workers, especially in Nigeria, you know, so many issues, casualization of workers. I mean, let's not even go into the interest, the rights of the Nigerian workers.
Government also have casual workers.
Protected. Yeah, that I know.
Go to local government. There are some people, we call them tempo. It's 10,000 naira
a month.
There is no local government. There is no local government that can even say, I don't have. None of them. 10,000 naira is tempo. They call them temporary staff. They are casual staff. There is no health insurance though. There is nothing. What they have with that local government is 10,000 naira. In fact, their name is not on their payroll. There is a special way they put their name. If something happens to them, the local government can deny them that they don't know because they are not on their payroll.
Don't forget that you know, embedded in that is the terrible and intrinsic corruption in that particular system. Because of course what they do is that they have those people on their books, they're not paying them 10,000 naira. So
exactly.
a lot of that money goes into their pockets.
Wow, it's a whole lot. All right, incidentally, a lot of our viewers are still reacting to the senator story.
Really.
And this one is saying, what is a married man looking for in a sex toy shop? He extended his domestic violence to the public. Go confront Joshua if you think you are a Superman. All right, this one says it was a very bad one. Excuse me, from the Power Miss Road Senator. Please, you journalists should not keep quiet until justice is done. Your voices are loudly heard than ours. Bukola from Kogi State sent that one in. All right, this one says, I'm happy this issue is being brought out. What you do today might later haunt you tomorrow. We have to be careful. Omaomi Akins sent that one in. Okay, more and more are on the video, but let's move ahead. I mean, this issue of strike at the port, I'm very sure the government of the day, they're going to do something timely about it, because we cannot afford for our port. I mean,
Absolutely.
we can't afford for our ports to be shut down. And really, it didn't have to get up to this point before something is done. How do you owe dock workers, you know, for over a year? They have families, they have to pay school fees. I mean, they get sick, they go to the hospital. They live in houses that are obviously not theirs. They pay house rent. They have to feed. Even the good book says you have to pay the workers' wages. How do you owe over a year? I mean, that is so inexcusable. And to think that it's foreign companies doing this to Nigerians, I mean, that's like
Nigerian government is looking
exactly. That's like robbing
Oh,
salt to injury. Please, let's do what is needful. All right, let's move on to our next topic, Buratai's gaffe. A seeming error by the Chief of Army Staff, Tukur Buratai, appearing to disparage his own troops, has once again vaulted the faltering war on terrorism onto public discourse. Although he has since protested that he was misquoted, what he has admitted and recent reverses suffered by Nigerian troops on the front lines nevertheless warrant a review and reinvigoration of the strategy and operational tactics in the war effort. Okay, let me just quickly go to what he said. Let me quote what he said, so we'll leave all this big grammar alone. According to the Chief of Army Staff, and I quote, many of those on whom the responsibility for physical actions against the adversary squarely falls are yet to fully take ownership of our own common national cause. End of quote. Of course, the newspapers took this and ran away with it, and made it a sensational story and all of that. But then if you read carefully in between the lines, even though the Chief of Army Staff is saying he was misquoted and all of that,
implied meaning of what he said is what is being reported.
Okay.
One thing there is this, in leadership, one of the hallmark of leadership is responsibility. If as a leader you don't want to act responsible for any act that is being done by your subordinate, then you are not a leader. Because one of the hallmark of a leader is that you have to take responsibility, either good or bad, on behalf of your subordinate. Because if you don't do that, you are killing their morale like that, and that is what Buratai has done. And in that concept, irrespective of whatever he wants to deny, the implied meaning of that two lines. The implied meaning of that two lines is saying that for some of you that are not trying to use all your heart to fight for Nigeria, we are going to expunge you. And that is exactly what you said. And these are the kind of soldiers that, one of the problems with soldiers is that even if you are not treating them well, they can't protest. But they do protest through some of journalists that are very closer to them that will blow their trumpet. Some of them, if they should open up. I have a friend that just lost a younger brother. And before the brother died, he came home and he was narrating what is happening in Sambisa. Before the issue of Boko Haram, I've been to Sambisa I've been to Kunduga very well, so I know the terrain very well. He was explaining what normally happened. Just like a movie. Many of these soldiers are not well treated. And that is the reason why that the umbrella of corruption that President Muhammadu Buhari is trying to fight, he needs to do something of. See, in the last 6-7 years, all the allocations that are meant for buying arms and whatever, thank God that he has started with the issue of Dasuki. He needs to do more because these soldiers, they are not being well taken care compared to what they are giving. We know our soldiers, if they travel abroad, they will come with medals, they will come with a lot of things. Nigerian army, US army will be telling you Nigerian soldiers are fantastic. When you go to Philippines, they will say, no, your soldiers are fantastic. If you go there, they will say fantastic. Then what is happening with us? And for Buratai, a situation in which, this is one of the largest of the Buhari. I used to say it that if you are using some people to work and you are not getting the results you're supposed to get, replace. And that is the problem for still allowing all those army ships and the one of naval ships and all those stuff still, and we are still having problem. Do you know how many soldiers are being killed every day unannounced?
Reported.
By the time you are reporting that soldiers is being killed every day, then it's like you are giving the Boko Harams and all those insurgents, you are giving them power. That's the reason why journalists have to just slow down. But we know what they are facing there. We know and this is not good for a leader like Buratai to be saying that you are killing the morale of the soldiers. They are laying their lives. They are putting everything at stake. They left their family behind. They are sleeping in the bush for months. And funniest thing there is this: how do we even recruit some of our soldiers? It's going to very rare. Look within your area. Before you could see 10 people that will go and apply normal, you don't know anybody and you are being picked. It's very, very rare. It's the case of some people are ready to join the army and defend this country.
Okay.
Why some people are not being allowed to do that.
Okay. All right. In as much as I know that a lot of us are careful with what we read or what we take in from social media, you know, because there's a lot of fake news going on. But we cannot, we cannot deny the fact that it has become the window to the underworld, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
A lot of videos we've seen, you know, from time to time on how the soldiers, you know, how they actually live in conditions better imagined, you know, than saying. Having said that, even if we are to go with, you know, whatever statement Buratai put out there that he has denied, do we blame the Nigerian soldier really if he is not committed, you know, to his job, seeing that they are being denied virtually everything that they need to function?
It's very simple. He said something. Leadership is about responsibility. So first of all, for Buratai to have said that, the president should just remove him. He's admitting that he's failed, because the first duty of a general, you know, you are the chief of army staff, you are the head soldier in this country, right? So his first job is to rally and motivate his troops,
his men.
That's it. That's the first one. You need to get them to a point where in their mind they are ready to die for their country at any point in time. That's the job of a soldier. A soldier is paid to lay his life down for his country, and it's actually a crime to refuse to do so. That's why they court-martial them if they desert, right? So for a general who should understand this, that you are first of all in the job of motivating people for the supreme sacrifice, to then come out and say you are not committed, you are half-hearted. He's already finished himself. It's a damning verdict on his own performance as the chief of army staff.
Okay, all right. I will let you go on, but let me just quickly read out you know, the statement he put out in his rebuttal. He said, and I quote, "I never said that the troops lack commitment. It was completely wrong, and I want to believe that somehow I was quoted out of context. Notwithstanding this disclaimer, he had complained in the past of some of his soldiers' performance. Moreover, the reversal suggests fundamental problems that need to be carefully examined."
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
fixed.
he can rebuke from now till next year the meaning of his words. In fact, you know, some newspapers actually helped him and recouched it and said they said he called them cowards. You know, so I mean, he can do all the semantics and all that. The point is, your words, you know, words are powerful. Words create. Words move. It is words that will move me from here, and I will leave my family and go to Sambisa, pick up. It's words. Words are powerful. So he needs to understand that. Now, the second job he has is strategy, you know, and all of that. and then administration. So what's happening to their money? Why are these guys demotivated?
Exactly.
What's going on? I mean, I have friends, you know, like you were saying, who visit those places a lot. There's a racket. It's like it's an industry. The insecurity, the insurgency has become an industry. Yes. There is a lot we can't say on air.
Yes.
So the chief of army staff needs to really, in fact, I'm not addressing him. Really, it's the president.
Yes.
Now, this brings us to the other issue. How come these guys that were appointed July 2015 are still in office? It's going to be 4 years.
And the results are
going to be 4, and you know, and you can't quite say, you can't beat your chest. Yes, there's been improvements.
Based on performance.
You know, there's been improvements.
Whatever.
There's been improvements. There's no doubt. But we are seeing soldiers week in, week out being killed. And you still retain these guys. I did something. I looked at the history of our service chiefs. The duration of their tenures, and I discovered that these guys are the second longest serving service chiefs.
Yes.
Bear in mind, these are wartime people. These are wartime service chiefs, right? The only other time that we've had service chiefs last longer than 4 years has been during military rule.
Yes.
But in the civilian era, these guys are the longest serving, except for the ones appointed by General Obasanjo, who is also a soldier. So I'm wondering, is it something about former soldiers not wanting to change their top guys? If that's the case, I don't know. We need to rethink this. I'm calling on the president. Enough is enough. These guys have done their bit. Let's bring in somebody else. If he's saying that his troops are not committed, whatever words he used, then he's saying that I'm done. So the president needs to look at this. And for goodness sake, he's starting the second term. Let him give us a new set of service chiefs. Let them come and bring in new ideas, new energy, new blood, new motivation for the troops. And let's hope that things will get better.
Okay. All right, let's quickly read a few feedbacks as they're coming in. Wale from Ikotun here in Lagos says, oh my God, in Yoruba. Thank you, sir. Anyway, I want Nigerians clamoring rather for a youth president to bury their agitation for now. Shame to that disgraceful senator. All right, this other one says, tell me, why are people doing whatever it takes to cross over abroad? No matter the risk, they believe if only they succeed, the risk will pay off. Unfortunately, many die on their way for greener pasture. It's a big shame for Nigeria not to pay the teeny 30,000 naira minimum wage that cannot even buy anything. Ogo from Akowojo sent that one in. I think he's reacting to the port strike. All right, unanimous. This one says we don't have a government that cares for its citizens. I believe in the airports, there are casual works that have been working without pay for over 7 months, and there is no employment for them, and they have families. Can you imagine that? All right, good afternoon. Skin from Ikorodu. Gentlemen, our problem to all these issues is that we don't have functional and reliable structures in place, because if we do, the animalistic senator, no name callings, so I'm going to stop reading this. Why is everybody so interested in this senator story today? Michael from Ikeja says, if you feel you are so strong and mighty to beat up a woman, why don't you go to a nearby barracks and slap one of the military personnel and let's see how mighty you are? Please, Sir Nuruddin, I need you to emphasize more on this senator's issue, please, and let hammer of justice fall on him. The ball is in your court, Mr. Nuruddin. All right. Alex Ayengo, good afternoon to you, sir. Long time no see you on this table. I don't know where you have been. This senator is nothing but a social deviant, not in any way good for the society, a manifest threat to sane people in the society, and as such should be quarantined like victims of the dreaded Ebola virus until he is cleansed, rehabilitated, and made normal again. Thank you, Mr. Yengo, for that one. All right, Eze says, what is a nursing mother doing in a sex toy shop? The senator should resign immediately. Okay, Kelechi from K2, on the foreign oil companies treating Nigerians badly, do you blame them? Is the way Nigerians treat one another that foreigners copy? Nigerians are extremely cruel to one another. Thank you, Kelechi. I have to stop reading the messages at this point. All right, gentlemen, both stories, you know, for me are not very pleasing stories. And I don't know, every time we come at the table, I'm just waiting for us to discuss some very exciting news, you know, something great happening in Nigeria. When are we going to have that? When, really?
Well, in every daily, there are a lot of good stories and developmental story. But the problem just there is that they are just my news. That is the thing. And it really shows that our government, all the tiers of government, local government, state government, federal government, they need to do more for people. We are not feeling their impact in the area of road, in the area of education, in the area of economy.
Health,
they need to do health. They need to do more so that at least when we come on board, we are going to discuss development. We'll talk about hope. We'll talk about good things about our country.
All right. Last words, Mr. Shoko.
I mean, a lot of good things are happening in Nigeria, no doubt. You know, I mean, a country of 200 million people. Very industrious, energetic, creative. Of course, good things will happen. But the problem is there is no concerted effort, and we are not all united in heading in the same direction. And only one person can do that, and that's the president. Nobody else can do it. No motivational speaker can motivate 200 million people at the same time because he simply doesn't have the platform. So our governments really need to wake up and understand their job. Your job is not just to go to the office, collect salary, and go back. Your job is to move the country forward and help us develop and make progress together.
Well said. On that note, well, we pulled the curtains on the program today. It's been a very interesting discussion. Thank you so much, Mr. Nuruddin Adigbenro. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
for your time. And thank you, Mr. Segun Sopiton.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, viewers, and thank you for all your contributions. Let's keep pushing forward as we hope for a better and greater Nigeria. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll leave you with this one. Love your country. Enjoy.